Why did I even come to Hierro? Why this island? Why did I pick, out of all these Canary Islands, the smallest and the one that is the furthest away from everything?
Na komm. Ja, du bist ein guter. Ich hab Hintern zu mir. So, this is Sol, who means the sun in Spanish. Sol is actually an ice bear. Oh! And he's an old man, 73 or something. Are you old soul? Are you an old soul? Sure.
I joined the German Navy. Back then we still had mandatory military service in Germany, so I had to do something. And I was a different person back then, I guess. Today I wouldn't do this, I would do social services or something. But back then I was like, okay, let's go in the army now. And I was working in a bank back then, and I was very unhappy with my job. And usually when you work in a bank, you get a job in an office when you have to go to the military. So I didn't want that, and I was ready for some adventure since my life was terribly boring, and I just also wanted to get away from my family, I guess, experience some freedom. And so I signed up for the German Navy. Since I was thinking, well, there's no ocean in the south of Germany and only in the north, so that would mean that I'm far away from home. And this all worked out. I did my basic training on Balkan, that's an island in the northern sea. When I joined the Navy, my idea was to get onto this one tall ship that the German Navy has, a sailing ship called Fock. And everybody told me, that's impossible, you will never make it on that ship because it's so random that somebody can join the sailing crew. But that year, funny enough, they were sailing a regatta, and so I was one of them. And that was one of the big adventures of my life. They flew us to the southern part of Spain. From there we sailed to Tenerife, and from there we started the regatta across the Atlantic, the Columbus Regatta. And the starting point was between Tenerife and El Hierro. That's the first time I laid eyes onto the island. I never had heard the name ever before, and then somebody said, this is El Hierro, and I was like, I've never heard, I've been to the Canary Islands, but I never heard about that island. And I said, yeah, it's quite remote and small, and I was thinking back then, I was like, one day, I'll be back here. Then I forgot about the island for many, many years, and I think in 2019 they had this crime series on ARTE, this European television station, and it was playing on El Hierro, and that was when I remembered, that I always wanted to go here, and then that year I also came to the island the first time. But let's go back, let's visit the past, and let's have a look back to the year, 1992. So here we are already in front of Tenerife. You can see the Teide, what is the highest mountain of Spain. Well, Here we're still singing. So that must have been the day before we started Regatta, because I was not drinking beer before we started that thing. And here we are on a tall ship that is like 300 feet, about 100 meters long, 45 or so meters high. It's about 120 feet, and then here you can see again. For a moment I thought it would be El Hierro, but I don't know exactly where the starting line was. It was close to El Hierro, since Columbus started from here as well on his second voyage. But what was amazing about this day, and here you can see how we sort out the ropes to get ready for the next day, I guess, or getting ready for the start of the regatta. The amazing thing was all these tall ships. So the biggest ships when it comes to sail ships in the world. As far as I remember, this is the Amerigo Vespucci, the Italian tall ship. And Amerigo Vespucci is also the guy who gave America the name. And that must be already preparation for the start, because you see all the sails are set. It's the Teide again. Highest mountain of Spain. And you have all these ships and boats, you know, like smaller ones, bigger ones, but there's one big regatta across the Atlantic Ocean. Actually, first stop was Puerto Rico. Now, it was a pretty rough time, because you think, well, you know, what do you do on a sailboat? But everything on our ship was done by hand. And trust me, you knew at the end of the day what you were doing after pulling ropes all day. And especially for me, like with my delicate hands after working the bank. And here you see the front of our ship. So everybody's getting ready. Great adventure for sure. I promised myself I would never sail across the Atlantic again, because it was pretty tough. Planes are fine. But definitely appreciate a plane after you sailed across the Atlantic. It's the front of the ship, all sails are set. Ready to rock and roll. But I'll never forget that day, because it was so beautiful. It was just a beautiful day. The sun was shining, and just to see all these ships everywhere around you. Was a magnificent sight. Front of the ship again. So everybody's ready. And that means, you know, business here when all the sails are up. So I think we just prepared, and then I think our ship was number 3 that went across the starting line. So here you see that we've already changed to these overalls. That was what we used to work. And then we had these brown uniforms that were more like when you are in the harbor and stuff. Yeah, all these guys are ready to go over the starting line. So it was difficult to maneuver all these boats, you know, like to make sure that we didn't hit each other. See, like, smaller ones here, bigger ones in the back. I've deck live, you know, I think all sails are set, so it's just like a moment to for the crew to basically relax here. So it took 10 days to get to Puerto Rico. That was a real achievement, you know. I think we came in 3rd, exhausted, but 3rd because our ship was quite old. Some of the Russian boats were like built in the 80s and 90s and were much faster. So we did really well. So I'm not sure if this was before we started or if we crossed the starting line already. Up here you can see our captain, Imo von Schnurbein. What a name. He was a great captain, actually. And that's how we worked back then, you know. We just had these overalls, we had like this little rope around our waist, and that was to kind of secure yourself when you're up on the mast somewhere. So now this is under deck. This is how we slept in hammocks here. More than 30 people in one room. So during the day you would put the hammocks away, and then in the evening you would pull them out and set them up again. That's what we're doing here. So thank you so much, that's for today. I'll look back at the past. Tomorrow we'll be focusing on the now again. That was a decisive moment, you know, to come back to this island eventually. And funny how life goes, you know, all these years later. But thank you so much for joining in. I see you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.
I could never settle down too far away from my hometown. With my family I am bound. I stick by them till I'm in the ground. Resting on the myth of old, all of the stories have been told. Secret places hidden well are gone now as far as I can tell.